Okay, guys, so we're going to go over how to do 1-point perspective with basic cubes. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is draw a horizon line. That goes across the middle of your paper. So then the next thing is we need to make our vanishing point. Now we are practicing 1-point perspective, so that means that we have one vanishing point. I'm going to put my vanishing point right in the middle, or as close to the middle as I can get it. So there's my vanishing point. Now remember, everything connects back to this vanishing point. If we had 2-point perspective, it'd be 2 vanishing points. If we had a 3-point perspective, it would be 3 vanishing points, but we're just working with one right now. So we're going to start with what is called worm's eye. Now, worm's eye is the point of view that is above the horizon line. Now, that's kind of confusing, but the whole idea, like we talked about before, is you're looking at the bottom of the cube as if you were a worm in the ground looking up. You see the underside of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a square. Now, you can make it perfect if you want. I'm just going to freehand it and call it good. So I've got my square. Now I need to connect all my corners that are close to my vanishing point to my vanishing point. So I'm going to start with this one. Obviously, it's the closest one to my vanishing point. I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point and with the corner. I need to make sure that it's as exact as possible so that it looks correct. And I'm going to draw my line. And there we go. So I'm going to do the same thing with these two. Line them up, make sure they're as even as possible, and then draw that line. All right, so there we go. I have my first cube. Now right now it looks more like a tall building, and we want to make it more of just a cube. So that means I got to get rid of some lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my bottom side right now. So I'm going to line it up with this line that I made earlier. And I'm going to keep it parallel, which means that it's going to be exactly the same and they would never cross. So I'm just going to move it straight down to where I think it's good. And then I'm going to draw a line in between those two bottom lines. I'm starting to make the bottom of my cube. Now I need to make my side right here. How I'm going to do that one is I want to keep it parallel with this side line. Move it out, but I also need to keep it even with that other line that I just drew. Otherwise, it's not going to look right. So when I get to the end of that line, I'm going to stop, and then I will draw my line, and I've got my cube. And we can just get rid of these lines. Right? So I've got a cube. And again, this is in worm's eye because it's as if we are looking up at it because we can see the bottom side of this cube. It's above the horizon line, but it is called worm's eye. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do bird's eye, which is the opposite, is below the horizon line, as if a bird was looking down on it, because we would be able to see the top side of it. So I'm going to draw my square. Ooh, this one is not nice, but it's okay. We're going to work with it. It's a little wonky. And remember, I'm going to do my 3 corners that make sense. So the ones that are closest to it. I'm going to line it up and draw it to my vanishing point. I'm going to do that with all 3 sides. Line it up. All right, and I've got my wonky little cube. And again, we want to go ahead and make it into a cube for now. We don't want our building looking thing. So I'm going to keep it parallel, draw a line, keep it parallel to the side, and then stop when I get to where those lines would touch to create our cube. Right, and then I can just get rid of these lines. And I've got my cube. So remember, this one is worm's eye because we are looking at the bottom side of the cube. This one is bird's eye because we are looking at the top side of the cube. And then our third one is eye level, which means we don't see the bottom or the top. We just see the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my square right on top of my horizon line. And then for this one, I'm going to do the two sides that make sense, right? Because these two will cross through our square, and we don't want that right now. So my vanishing point's getting a little weird, but it's because I'm using Expo. With a pencil, it shouldn't be as bad as long as you're drawing lightly. So I'm going to take these two sides that make sense, and I'm going to connect them to my vanishing point, making sure I'm lined up nice and even. Right, so I've got that, and then I want to cut it off, make my cube. So I'm going to line it up with this one, keep it parallel. That looks about good. I'm going to draw my line, and then I've got that cube now. Again, I'm going to erase my extra lines. And for the case of this one, I'm going to erase the horizon line that goes through it so that it doesn't distract. So then I've got my 3 points of view. So again, the top is worm's eye. It is above the horizon line. We are looking at the bottom side right here, like we are a worm looking up. This one below the horizon line is bird's eye because we are looking at the top of it right here, as if a bird was looking down on it. And then this one on our horizon line is eye level because we are looking directly at it. I don't see the top, I don't see the bottom, I just see the side and the front, like I'm looking at the corner. And that is how we draw our cubes in 1-point perspective.